There's a night at the end of every harvest when the farmer stops at the barn door, alone, looking inside. And this time, the barn is fuller than he's ever seen it. It should be the best night of his life, but there's a question every farmer has to answer before deciding anything. After the harvest is sold and the bills are paid, how much is really left over? Every company asks itself this same question. This farmer does the math and realizes less is left than he expected. The land he wants to work is bigger than even a record harvest can cover on its own. So he does something he's never done before. He goes to the bank and borrows enough to work even more land next season. But he doesn't put it all into the land. Part of it stays exactly where it was, grain in the barn, more held in reserve than he's ever kept before. Hold on to that scene, because what you're about to see is one of the largest technology companies on the planet telling this same story in a single quarter. Meta Platforms. Second quarter of 2026. The company must have had a bad quarter, but the numbers say something else. Revenue. $60,801 million, the highest quarter in the company's history, up 28%. And yet, on paper, net income came out worse, $15,848 million, down 14%. Part of that is one time, $2,400 million in legal charges and $1,180 million in severance, more than $3 billion recognized all at once. Companies separate out these items for a reason. A one-time charge tells the story of a single quarter. It doesn't tell you how the business runs the other 11 months of the year. That explains part of the story, not all of it. There's another number, separate from profit, that answers a different question. After keeping the machine running, how much was really left? That number didn't fall, it grew. So why does it look like it disappeared? There's an indicator that measures exactly this. It's called free cash flow. And the math behind it is simple. Start with the cash the business actually collected from running itself, $31,862 million. Subtract what it spent on property and equipment, $30,116 million. Subtract what it paid down on finance leases, $962 million. What's left is the only cash the company can truly choose what to do with, $784 million. This quarter, that number nearly hit zero. So the next obvious question, is this company running out of money? Look at the balance sheet, and the answer is no. Cash and securities on hand went from $81,592 million at the end of last year to $90,260 million now, even after paying for all of this. The company spent $31,078 million on AI infrastructure this quarter. That's capital expenditures, against revenue of $60,801 million. That's 51%. This investment alone swallowed more than half of everything that came in as revenue this quarter, but it didn't need to borrow for that. Operating cash flow was $31,862 million. Capital expenditures were $31,078 million. Subtract one from the other, and there's still $784 million left over. Room to spare. That's a test worth remembering for any company. Check whether its own operating cash could have paid for its spending alone. If it could, the growth is funding itself. If it couldn't, the company is reaching outside for help. Here, it could have paid for it alone. So why did it borrow $24,910 million it apparently didn't need? Where did that money actually go then? Not into servers, into the barn itself. At the same time, it paused buying back its own stock, down from $10,167 million the same quarter last year to zero, while the dividend kept flowing. The two aren't the same promise. A dividend is a commitment companies avoid breaking, while a buyback is the easiest lever to pull when a company just wants to hold on to cash quietly. This quarter, the dividend cost $1,353 million. Free cash flow was $784 million. Subtract one from the other, and the dividend alone ran $569 million past what the business actually generated. On the earnings call, one analyst asked how the company balances future investment against free cash flow. The CFO's answer, in her own words, operating cash flow is really the primary pillar by which they're financing all of their ambitions. Later, asked about the new partnerships, With BlackRock, Blue Owl, Hyperion, she said there are a lot of open questions in terms of 2028 and beyond, and how to think about capacity. Put it all together, and here's what the quarter actually shows. Revenue, record, up 28%. Profit, down 14%, but mainly from charges that won't repeat. Operating cash, up, not down. Free cash flow, near zero, not because the business earned less, but because it spent more building its own future than in any quarter before. Cash on hand, at its highest level ever recorded. New debt, $24 billion that operating cash didn't require. Stock buybacks, paused. The dividend, kept getting paid, even beyond what free cash flow alone could cover. Read together, this isn't a company running out of room. It's a company making room, on purpose, ahead of a decision it hasn't made yet. That's the number this quarter was really reporting. Not profit, not revenue. Readiness. Somewhere, a real farmer is doing the same thing tonight, standing in front of a barn fuller than he's ever seen it, with grain he chose not to plant, exactly where he left it. Not because he's afraid, as if he were waiting to see how big the next harvest will need to be before committing everything.